Hello, welcome. Welcome. Sorry. Okay, yeah, there we go. Just making sure my volume was okay. I didn't hear myself for a second. All right. So here we are with the Canton Cover-Up Commonwealth versus Karen Reed, episode 14. And this is the prison diaries. So in our last episodes, we went through the charging documents that the Commonwealth had for Turtleboy and the quotes from his show that or his blog that they took a lot of them out of context just to make him look more menacing and dangerous when really, I mean, he still has every right to say the things that he said. So what he's doing in prison, I don't know, but that's on them. They have 16 charges of witness intimidation and all these other things on him. So I don't know. It's not right. All right. So for this one, I put it together a slideshow again. I'm going to take myself off cam just for a little while. I might come back on. Anyways, so this first part, before we get started, I wanted to remind everybody, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And also, I grabbed this quote, which I really liked. It made me really think, by Henry David Thoreau. Under a government which imprisons any unjustly, the true place for a just man is also a prison. I just thought that was something to think about, since Turtleboy is sitting in prison, even though he could admit guilt or plead guilt, even though he's not guilty of anything, and then he could get out of jail. But it's the principle and the fact that the Norfolk District Attorney's Office is abusing their power and weaponizing the statutes to take people down and shut them up. All right. So anyways, we're going back to the timeline that I originally had for, I think it was part 1 of the Turtleboy saga when that began. So we did a timeline, and here's how things kind of laid out. He got arrested and arraigned on October 11th. That was 9 counts of witness intimidation. He was released on his own recognizance. Grand jury indictment on January 20th, 2023. Additional charges were added. It was a total of 16 charges, and it was moved to Superior Court. He was arraigned in Superior Court on December 22nd, 2023, and the stay-away orders were lifted. And we went through, in the last 2 episodes, Journalism is Not a Crime, we went through Turtleboy in his own words from his blogs, talking about how they've taken his words out of context, and here's what he meant, and he's defending like every, he's going through, I went through and picked out the portions where he was defending himself in his own words, why he said the things that they pulled out and what the context was, and how when you look at it in the context, it's not bad. So, or he wasn't committing a crime or whatever it was, he broke everything down, and we did that. It took 2 episodes for us to do that. And then, so we got to that point where, we went through all of that, and we ended on that high note where he was arraigned in Superior Court and the stay-away orders were lifted. We ended on that high note because what's coming next is a downer. So, he gets into an argument with his ex on, we believe it's around the 23rd, 24th. He recorded part of the conversation, which very much seemed like she was the aggressor, not him. She was yelling and irrationally screaming at him to stay there. He was trying to leave. You can hear it in the recording. He uploaded it to his YouTube. And so later, he finds out that he was accused of DV. So now he has new charges. He's got a temporary restraining order on him, an emergency temporary restraining order from getting into an argument with his girlfriend, or ex-girlfriend, I should say. He gets DV charges and assault and battery charges, and that is around Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. They issue everything, you know, right at the end of the day, and a bolo is issued, and he's arrested around the 24th, 25th of December. So right around Christmas time, he is arrested. I'm not sure what date or time it was, but I know he turned himself in. He was arraigned December 27th, and bail was revoked on that day because of the lies that the quote-unquote victim said. Well, I was not there. I do not know what happened, but I don't believe this witness or victim, whatever she is at all credible. So I'm just going to stay behind Turtleboy because that witness did not seem credible to me. And she's working with Jen McCabe and Tully and Mello, which we will get into. All right, so he was arraigned and bail was revoked, which means he was put behind bars. And I actually had a thing for you guys, a video.
Aiden Curity faced new charges. Our Emily Maha is live outside the courthouse in Dedham. And Emily, a lot of strong reactions there tonight.
Well, Sean, Jen, Aiden Carney's lawyer, calling the judge's decision disgusting.
Hold on. Sorry, hold on one second. Here we go.
Aiden Curity faced new charges. Our Emily Maha is live outside the courthouse in Dedham. Emily, a lot of strong reactions there tonight.
Well, Sean, Jen, Aiden Carney's lawyer, calling the judge's decision disgusting. Tonight, the well-known blogger will not be going home, instead heading to the House of Corrections. This is the moment the blogger known as Turtleboy walked out of the courthouse in shackles. Carney is charged with intimidating a witness and assault and battery on a household member. The prosecutor says he shoved his ex-girlfriend, who's also a witness in the ongoing murder investigation of Boston police officer John O'Keefe. Investigators say O'Keefe was killed by his girlfriend, Karen Reed. Carney's lawyer says the allegations are lies, saying the woman claimed to be pregnant and asked Carney to come over while she took an abortion pill. His lawyer says Carney recorded that conversation and posted it online. It was played in the courtroom today before the judge made his decision. You can hear the gasp from those inside as the judge revoked Carney's bail. His lawyer then taking to the courtroom steps.
We're completely disgusted after making that presentation that he's going to be held. The judge made his decision, and we're going to review it. We're going to do everything we can.
Carney showed little emotion after learning he'd be headed to the House of Corrections. He had just been in court last week after a grand jury returned a 16-count indictment, all connected to intimidating witnesses in the Karen Reed case. Now, Carney will be back in court next month for these charges. The judge warning him to have no contact with his ex-girlfriend, saying, "Do not call her from the House of Corrections."
All right, so we are back. Whoops, hold on. Okay, here we are. So now he is behind bars. The Commonwealth finally gets Turtleboy arrested, which they wanted from the very beginning. So then, when is it? The next week, January 8th. So this all happens, you know, right around Christmas, New Year's. He's sitting in prison this whole time. And then we have a hearing on January 8th regarding the emergency temporary restraining order. So he goes to court to defend himself against the woman who is claiming that he was mishandling her. I don't want to say a certain word because then my video won't get It'll get like blocked, but saying that he DV'd her. Yeah, so let's go on with the next slide. So the hearing regarding the restraining order with his ex, took place January 8th. They had been broken up for maybe a month at this point. All right. So he finds out on the night of the incident. She calls him and says, look, I got a subpoena. Come over and talk to me about it or whatever. And so he does. He comes over. He tries to get information that, you know, they're trying to use her to get to him and all this stuff. And so he's trying to get this information and what they know, you know, trying to find out what Tully and the Massachusetts State Police know. So next, is it a setup? The victim spoke with Tully before Turtleboy went over to the house. So that is what we found out at the hearing, that the victim actually had been in touch with Tully and Mello and Jen McCabe. Jen McCabe is babysitting apparently for the victim of this hearing. I'll call her a victim because that's what they're calling her in the court documents, but I use that term loosely for her. Anyways, so why is Tully calling her before this incident even happens regarding Turtleboy getting arrested or the fight that she has with him, which is, you know, the 23rd, 24th? I don't know. Sorry, I'm taking a drink. No, I don't know why she would have any reason to be talking to Tully. So anyways, Turtleboy went over there to talk to her because she was upset. So he was trying to calm her down, trying to encourage her, you know, saying, you know, just tell him the truth. I'll get you a lawyer. Like, you don't have to give her your phone or anything like that. Like, he's trying, you know, he was trying to help her because she was not sure what she should do after she got the subpoena. And he was also trying to gain information as to what information the police are fishing for. So he went over there to do that. He took a bunch of notes based on the subpoena that she had let him view. And then at the end of the day or the night, she would not let him leave. He wanted to leave. His notes were sitting on the table or something, and she took it and like put it down her shirt or whatever. She was keeping the notes that he wrote from him. She was saying that they were her information because it was from her subpoena. I don't know. She was mad that he was trying to leave. And that's what it sounded like in the audio that he posted on YouTube, was that she was very upset that he was leaving. She wanted him to stay, and she threatened to wake up her kids and go to his house if he left. And this was like 5 a.m. But anyways, so this is all happening. He finally gets out of there somehow, some way. I don't know if he got his notes or what, but he gets out of there. He ends up getting into a car crash because he was so tired because he didn't get any sleep that night. So he got into a crash on his way home because it's a long drive. And then to top it off, he finds out later that day that there's an arrest warrant for him, or a bolo, or whatever he's wanted for arrest. And the thing is, we find out at the hearing, though, that she reported this DV the next morning to Sergeant Tully. So she was directly in touch with Sergeant Tully and with Mello before this incident. She didn't call 911 and she didn't go to the hospital. She didn't, you know, if there was some kind of DV incident that did happen, that's usually the first thing you do. Hospital or police station, you know, I mean, you file a police report. But she didn't do that. She went straight to Sergeant Brian Tully, her friend, Brian Tully, who she got his number from Ken Mello, the special prosecutor in Turtleboy's case. So tell me how that's not some kind of interference with the justice system. I don't know. So we also find out in this hearing that Bradel stated in court that the victim was called to testify in a state grand jury as a witness. But she wasn't called until the Wednesday after Christmas. So if she wasn't called as a witness until the Wednesday after Christmas, which was the 27th, then how could Turtleboy be causing witness intimidation on her? Because that's one of the charges that they are trying to pull with this, with arresting him. It's witness intimidation, it's DV, and assault and battery, because apparently she fell on the couch. I don't know. And I'm not minimizing DV at any cost or any way, because it's a serious thing and it's a terrible thing and it's too much in the closet and there's a horrible stigma about it. And I'm not going to get into anything about that, but in my opinion, she's not a credible witness. We'll go with that. All right. So it was proven that the witness was lying about her pregnancy on the stand. So in this incident at this time, she was trying to take a pill to unalive the pregnancy, and she wanted him to stay there with her. Well, we find out in court that the picture that she sent about her pregnancy test to him, it was dated, like the metadata on it was previous, and there's no way it could have been his because he never even knew her at that time. So we know that she is not to be trusted when it comes to things like faking a pregnancy. I mean, that's kind of a big deal. All right. So a witness in this case, a witness in the whole DV situation, happened to be found. I don't know if it was found through Turtleboy's defense team, but they found this witness who is the actual babysitter, not Jen McCabe, but another babysitter for this woman's kids. And she claimed, she told Bradel's investigator, who obviously spoke with her, interviewed her. She told the investigator that the victim told her that TB never actually hit her. So she basically admitted that she was lying. I mean, she did admit that she was lying to her babysitter. The problem is the witness, this babysitter, was a no-show. She didn't want to cooperate. She came, so she was subpoenaed, I think the week before. She refused to come to court, and then they were trying to get her on Zoom, and then she was like, no, I'm sick. And then they're I don't know what they said to get her to come on, but she finally came on. And then when she was on Zoom, she was uncooperative the whole time. Like, she would not answer questions. She flat out said, I don't want to get involved. So I don't know how someone can do that. I think someone threatened her, honestly. I think the McCabes, the Alberts, somebody threatened her. All of their people threatened this babysitter so that she wouldn't speak. That's my opinion. All right, so as a result of all of that, the witness was a no-show and she was uncooperative. Somehow, some way, I don't know how this idiotic judge, I'm sorry, but judge, you're idiotic. I don't know how you can think that the RO should have been extended another year, but you did. So he extended the restraining order for a full year. So it's not temporary anymore. It's for a year. Well, that's still temporary, but you know what I mean. I hope. So it wasn't, I mean, he doesn't, I'm sure, care to not talk to her, but it's still a loss, and that's still upsetting when we have facts and receipts on our sides and the courts aren't watching. They're not listening. So one unfortunate thing about Turtleboy's hearing on 8th of January is that there was another witness that could not be there to testify. So instead, he gave a statement, a written statement, because he thinks that the woman who is the victim in this case against Turtleboy has a pattern, let's say, of how she does things with relationships, and he thinks that he suffered from some similar unfortunate circumstances too, just from her. So I, Nicholas Bonfilio, present this statement to detail my experiences during my intermittent year-long relationship with the victim. This relationship profoundly impacted my mental and emotional well-being, largely due to Miss Catani's controlling and manipulative behavior. She frequently deceived me with false pregnancy claims, using altered ultrasound images and other means to falsely convince me I was the father, thereby manipulating my actions and decisions. Additionally, that is so sick. That is, being a woman myself, this makes me so angry that women do this to men. It's disgusting. You're disgusting, Lindsay Gattani, for what you're doing. I don't care. All right. So additionally, she would send me pictures of BLOD in the toilet, claiming she was in pain to further her deceit. So she's claiming that she's having a miscarriage or something, or just whatever, some kind of medical issue. I don't know. Moreover, Ms. Catani often resorted to threats of self-harm and fabricated allegations against me, especially when I attempted to leave her. She inflicted harm upon herself and unjustly accused me of such acts. Her claims about the paternity of her second child were unfounded, as the timelines do not match our relationship. My family members have been first-hand witnesses to the abuse and manipulation I suffered from Ms. Catani. Their testimonies can provide additional context and support for my statements. Following the end of our relationship, Ms. Catani continued her deceptive behavior, leading to my wrongful arrest on 5 separate occasions, all processed in this court. Notably, one instance involved an arrest for allegedly violating a restraining order, a direct result of Ms. Catani's false allegations. What? This sounds exactly like what's happening to Aiden. This false narrative that has been created is eerily similar to my situation, and if I can, I'd like to prevent this from happening to others moving forward. Respectfully submitted, Nicholas Bonfilio, and that was on 104, I think. So that is pretty damn close to what's going on to Turtleboy right now. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below what you think of that witness statement. I think it's interesting. All right, so moving on with the timeline again. Now we're at January 24th, and Karen Reed's phone is seized because Ken Mello asks a judge to revoke and monitor Aiden's phone calls, and also he wants Karen's phone because he thinks that Aiden and Karen are conspiring to witness intimidation. More witness intimidation. That's all they can throw their hat at, is witness intimidation, and we're going to get him on witness intimidation, as many counts as we can, when everything he's done is within the law. All right, so there's a hearing regarding Carney's phone calls and this, well, it wasn't for Karen, but so after her phones were seized, 2 days later, he has a hearing regarding his phone calls in the prison. Mello wants them revoked or monitored, which is an unprecedented ask of the court for something like that. And the judge even asks at this hearing under what authority they have to monitor the Turtleboy's calls. which is crazy that they even asked that. I cannot believe how blatantly corrupt they are. It gets worse and worse every day. All right, so anyways, let's talk a little bit about the hearing. He has the hearing on the 26th now. This is regarding phone calls. He was not in court that day. He was on a Zoom. We'll get to all of the details in these hearings, but first off, I just want to give you the highlights. So Mello asks for sanctions against Bradel, Aiden's attorney, because Bradel inadvertently on a phone call misidentified someone as a lawyer. She was actually a paralegal. He didn't know, he didn't do it intentionally or willingly. It wasn't like he did this on purpose to like infiltrate the prison system, which is kind of what the Commonwealth is acting like it was. So it was a mistake. He corrected it and whatever. So I don't know why it was even an issue, but Mello wants Bradel to face sanctions. He's accusing now Bradel of conspiring with Turtleboy to intimidate witnesses with no factual basis. He has no factual basis for even claiming that Turtleboy and Karen are conspiring or that Turtleboy and his attorney are conspiring for anything. He has no basis, but yet he puts this in a court document and asks the judge to make up some unprecedented rule to start recording Turtleboy's conversation. So he made the unprecedented request to have his calls limited to only lawyers and his family, and also to have that court monitored, even his legal calls. And that is completely unfounded. That, in my opinion, that is ridiculous that was even asked for. I don't know how they're so brazen. All right, so we're going to talk about the phone call restrictions and how many times Mello keeps trying to take away their phone privileges, or Turtleboy's phone privileges. So here, I don't have the exact date because when I did it, it was 7 days from February 1st. Ken Mello wants to take away Turtleboy's phone privileges, indict him again, and confiscate Karen Reed's phones based on Lindsay Catani's lies. And that, sorry, I skipped through. This is a picture of Aiden blowing Mello a kiss. I think it was Mello. He blew Mello a kiss. And they caught it on camera. So it's like perfect timing. All right, so Aiden says, I just want to thank you all. Say thank you to all the wonderful people who came to support me in court today. Being shackled in a jail was supposed to crush my spirits, but seeing so many friendly faces makes that impossible. I woke up smiling. I smiled while I was transported in chains at 7:30 a.m. I smiled for 2 hours alone in the holding cell. I smiled as I came out and saw all of the familiar, loving, smiling faces, back at me. I was so happy. I even blew Grant Smith Ellis a kiss. He's such a big fan. Oh, it was for Grant Ellis. Sorry, I thought it was to Mello. Yeah, Grant Smith Ellis is I'm not even sure who he is, but I know he was in there giving tweets, live tweets as the press, as a member of the press. So he was there reporting on it. There's Aiden in his nice sports coat. And then he was greeted by tons of people standing outside with signs and screaming and cheering for him while he was getting transported back to the jail. So corrupt special prosecutor Ken Mello sees how happy I am and is trying to stop it. It's not enough for the deadbeat dad in plaid to hurt my children by taking their father away. He also wants to take away my ability to speak to them on the phone as he tries to add on new charges. I mean, how many more charges are you trying to add on, guy? Come on. Yesterday, Mello filed a motion for sanctions against my attorney Bradel. Phone calls that I make in jail to my legal team are confidential and protected. On my first day here, Mello applied to listen to all of my non-confidential calls, including calls with my children and parents. We don't want him knowing our legal strategy, so Attorney Bradel took measures to protect confidential calls. My civil attorney, Elizabeth Dombrowski, volunteered 3 of her paralegals to help Bradel, who then asked the jail to protect their calls. Bradel was given the names and phone numbers of members of the legal team, and he had not yet met anyone there. So he had just been given these names. He didn't really know them. He was given the names from, I'm sure, Elizabeth. So he didn't actually know their roles. So every day we talk on the phone about the case and strategize, as Bradel can't do it. So Aiden relies on the team of paralegals to talk to because Bradel's too busy to talk to Aiden every day. Bradel's working on bringing this case to an end. He's out there getting the deets and, getting the interviews or depositions that he needs in order to get Aiden out of there and get overturn this law, because that's what they ultimately want to do, because it's unconstitutional. All right, so on January 12th, their calls were no longer private because Mello called in a complaint to the jail. Yesterday, he filed a motion for sanctions against Bradel and wants me to lose phone privileges entirely. According to the motion, which is filled with lies and unsubstantiated allegations, Bradel asked that 2 of the paralegals be given private calls. He mistakenly said that one of the paralegals was a lawyer. It should be noted that being a paralegal is enough to get private calls. So regardless of whether she was a lawyer or a paralegal, it doesn't freaking matter, Mello. It is not necessary to be listed as a lawyer to have private calls. There are no added benefits to being listed as an attorney versus a paralegal. In his public motion, Mello chose not to redact the 2 paralegals' phone numbers as a direct result of this intentional doxing that they've been doing all this time. They've been doing it to everyone in this case. They both began receiving threatening texts from burner phones like this. Hey, give me a ring when you can. Who is this? I'm sorry. I used to date Aiden. We need to talk. Who is this? Hey, something, you lying scumbag, pretending to be a lawyer to help TB intimidate witnesses from jail. Expect cops soon. They were just at Karen's and you're on the list too, drunken lying skank. Alrighty. Keep in mind, I am currently being charged with felony witness intimidation because I read a phone number out loud off of a public court document during a live show, which they claim might be harassment. Now that same man who is prosecuting me is intentionally posting names and phone numbers of private citizens, which he knew would directly lead to harassment and threats. They do everything that they accuse me of doing. Why should a state police detective get more protection than 2 private citizens? That's a good question. Here he posts the message that the voicemail he left for Trooper Proctor. Again, we read through that in the charging statements or charging docs. So Mello's motion is unprofessional and filled with lies. It calls one of the women a minion, suggesting she is incapable of thought. He calls us, or not us, but anyone who listens to Turtleboy or follows him, they're minions. No one has their own minds, apparently. He baselessly claims that her and I conspired to intimidate witnesses on the unrecorded line. So him and this paralegal, something he has no evidence of if it was unrecorded. Yeah. So he lied about claiming that this woman runs my social media accounts. He lied by saying that I have spoken with her 60 times. So what if he has people to run his social media accounts? they're trying to stop him from speaking entirely. Do you see this? Like, they want him, even the people that he talks to about the case that he gets his story out to, they want that stopped because they arrested him, but he hasn't quit talking. We still get updates from him pretty much daily now. I mean, it dissipated at first, like it stopped right when he got arrested, but then, it started coming out, in trickles. And then now I think he does something every day or posts a few things every day. If not him, his team. But so what if he has a marketing team or a social media team behind him? It's not illegal. Ken Mello, it's not illegal. And okay, but they're saying that he is this paralegal that they got on as a lawyer. They're claiming she's actually, like, he's spilling information to her over these protected calls, but he has no proof of this. So he lied by saying that I have spoken with her 60 times when that number is closer to 3. He even accused my attorney of conspiring with us to do this when in fact Bradel made what the Commonwealth would call a scrivener's error had Michael Proctor said it. Mello is just upset that he couldn't listen in on our legal strategy for 3 weeks after we proved that his star witness is a mentally unbalanced, scorned woman who fakes pregnancies. Mello wants Bradel to pay $10,000 in sanctions for this error, which doesn't give anyone privileges they weren't entitled to. This is a hearing tomorrow in Superior Court at noon in front of Judge Deborah Squires Lee. I am required to be there on Zoom, but the hearing is open to the public. Okay, so Mello also informed us today he will be indicting me, likely on witness intimidation charges against Lindsay Gattani, who was a witness to nothing. Nothing. She didn't see anything. They just made her a witness so they could charge him with more witness intimidation. However, it appears as though she may have lied to Mello because he suddenly has a warrant for Karen Reed's cell phones. Norfolk, this is Ted Daniels from, I don't know, Boston something news. Sorry, I'm not local. Oh, Boston 25 News. All right, so Norfolk County Special Prosecutor Ken Mello just confirmed for me that MSP seized 2 phones from Karen Reed today related to the investigation Mello is running into allegations of witness intimidation. So as you will see, when I get out of jail and publish the whole story on what happened, Lindsay's anger towards me largely comes from jealousy of Karen Reed. She convinced herself that I was in love with Karen and made statements to me that she wanted to hurt her. What? This woman's crazy. If that's true, allegedly. She's allegedly crazy. The only way Mello could get a warrant for Reed's phones is if someone lied under oath and said that Karen and I conspired to intimidate witnesses. There is only one person who could be behind this. For the record, they will not find any communications between Reed and I on her phone or mine. They definitely won't find us conspiring to intimidate witnesses because unlike these witnesses, we don't break the law. It is outrageous and should alarm us all that we live in a country where the government can send men with guns to your house to steal your property and read private communications based solely off the words of a woman who faked pregnancy in order to avoid getting dumped. Either way, I'm not the least bit deterred. Today was a great day and they can't keep me in here forever. And when I get out, I will be exposing their corruption and holding the bad guys accountable like never before. All right, so that was just one of the attempts to get his phone and stop his communications. We've been over so many other times they're trying to stop him. They thought putting him in jail would stop him, but it didn't. All right, so Ken Mello did Ken Mello things in court today. They were back in court and made a fool of himself as he usually does. Judge Deborah Squires Lee took both his and Attorney Bradel's motions under advisement. after Mello asked the court to take away access to Turtleboy's phone in jail and fine Bradel $10,000. Mello claims, without any evidence, that Turtleboy conspired with Bradel to put two women on a private call list in order to plot more witness intimidation in the Karen Reed case. In response to this ridiculous motion, Bradel filed his own motion against Mello, asking that Mello donate 20 grand to charity and issue a public apology for doxing two women, which directly led to threats. So Bradel swung right back at Ken Mello. The hearing began with the judge asking why Turtleboy's phone calls should be limited, since Mello was accusing Turtleboy of violating jail rules, not a court order. Mello had no rational response because he is a very stupid person. I'm sorry. I like stupid humor. Adam Sandler is like one of my favorites. I can just watch his movies and giggle. All right. So Mello then complained about this tweet. Mello then complained about this tweet made on the Turtleboy account, claiming that it was harassment of Lindsay Catani and urging people to call DCF on her because it mentions her name. What did he say? I was overcome with joy today at court. Thank you so much to all the Turtle writers who show up to let me know they are still behind me. Everyone knows I'm 1,000% innocent, even Lindsay Catani. How is that witness intimidation, you dumbasses? Yeah, Mello's probably saying that's witness intimidation. There were only two people in the apartment on December 24th, Lindsay and Turtleboy. They are the only two people who know with 100% certainty that Turtleboy is innocent. The tweet is accurate. As usual, Mello is attempting to frame free speech as harassment. He believes that people should be allowed to lie to police and in court and never be questioned or mentioned in the process. The judge was fair and asked good questions. He asked if Mello simply had a suspicion of wrongful conduct or if he knows as a fact, for a fact, that there is a dastardly plot to intimidate witnesses on an unrecorded line. He confirmed it was just a suspicion. Just a suspicion, Judge. At one point, Mello said that Turtleboy has confounded the legal system. What? How? The judge quickly told him to calm down by saying the legal system was not confounded. Relax there, Kenny. That was Turtleboy saying, relax there, Kenny. All right, to his credit, the deadbeat dad in plaid wore a different suit today, as his news of not paying child support enabled him to splurge a little. Okay, well, there's that. The judge told Mello that if he felt there was harassment, that was a matter for police, not for her to order the jail to take away his tablet, which they have tablets now in jail, everyone, and you can make calls, you can play games, you can buy things, I think, from your commissary. Like, it's all, even the prisoners now have tablets, so I think it's kind of cool. I wonder if they could get books and stuff, like download or read books or audiobooks. That'd be what I would be doing, I'm sure. All right, anyways, Mello announced that a grand jury would be convening next week because he apparently missed the memo that indictments are coming from the feds soon in the Karen Reed investigation. So we already know that there have been indictments in the state of Massachusetts, not related to this case yet, but we know that the feds they're closing in on some corruption there. So Josh Levy, he's cracking some skulls down there, trying to weed out all the corruption, and I'm sure they're heading to Canton soon. So instead, he's forging ahead with a new star witness, a mentally unbalanced welfare queen who fakes pregnancies routinely. So he's talking about Lindsay. The judge pointed out to Mello that she doesn't have the power to sanction an attorney over professional conduct violations, and that violating jailhouse rules only rises to professional conduct violations. That led to this hysterical exchange. Mello: this is affecting the administration of justice. Judge: how has this affected the administration of justice? Jen Altman is well known in the turtle writer community. What is the evidence? It's on the internet. I can't bring the whole internet to court. Judge: usually you bring evidence to court. Imagine being an attorney and having to be reminded by a judge that you have to bring evidence to court. Sherman Shortbus must have slept through that day in community college law school, although the thought of him walking into a courtroom with a briefcase that just says internet is something I can picture him doing. Basically, Mello thinks he can make claims with no evidence and just say, someone nicknamed KP told me that they're doing it, so it must be true. Because I believe she's feeding the law enforcement information about Turtleboy. She's his nemesis, like they really are nemesises. And yeah, she talks about him endlessly on her. She's got a web or a YouTube channel also, and she just complains about Aiden for most of it, I think. I don't know. I don't watch her, but that's what her page looked like when I went on there once. Okay, so an administrator from the jail testified and said that only lawyers get protected calls. But if that were the case, then why did they protect the calls of a woman who Bradel said was a paralegal? This admin also testified that Mello and an unnamed state trooper were the ones who told jail administrators to look into who was on our protected call list. An unnamed state trooper, huh? I could name 2 right now that would benefit from looking at your call list. Anyways, I think we all know that it was Brian Tully, who has an unhealthy obsession with TB and likes to track down women who he thinks Turtleboy slept with, instead of finding out who was driving that Ford Edge outside of Brian Albert's house. Good points. The judge asked Mello the same thing that Judge Krupp asked last month. What power did she have to do what Mello was requesting? What gives her the authority to order the sheriff's department to take away phone privileges? And just like with Krupp, his response was inherent power. In other words, you're a judge, so you should just make some shit up as you go along, like I do. As the judge pointed out, calls with these 2 women are no longer protected, so there's really no issue here. Mello just suspects that they may have plotted witness intimidation weeks ago, therefore the judge should ignore the law and appoint herself sheriff. But Mello wasn't done saying stupid things. He attempted to justify doxing the 2 women by saying it's a filing with the court. He did this with a straight face while actively charging Turtleboy with witness intimidation for reading Michael Proctor's phone number off of a filing with the court, and doesn't see how hypocritical and stupid this makes him sound. I will agree. We have faith that Judge Squires Lee will see this for the farce that it is and rule the same way Judge Krupp did. Let's hope she took it under advisement to write a scathing response ripping Mello for being so bad at his job. At 3 p.m. today, Lindsay Catani reportedly called the jail complaining that Turtleboy violated the restraining order against her by getting a third party to call her. There is no evidence of this, and all of his calls are recorded anyway. What a dumbass. Why would you? Yeah, his calls are recorded, so they would be able to know if he did that. It appears as if she and Mello are willing to lie over and over again in order to silence a journalist for reporting the truth. Turtleboy has stated that he never wants to speak with her again, so apparently this is how she's dealing with that. Some people just don't seem to understand how the law works. And I think this might be the last example here. Anyways, Ken Mello loses motion to take away Turtleboy's phones in jail. In the first of many victories to come, Ken Mello's motion to take my phone privileges away was soundly denied in a 12-page ruling from Judge Deborah Squires Lee today. In the ruling, Mello got spanked for not bringing any evidence with him to court to back up his wild allegations of witness intimidation and for referring to a woman he doxed as a minion. And the memorandum and decision, it's on his website. After hearing and reviewing for the reasons stated below, the Commonwealth motion is denied. So, Mello's not going to be able to monitor Carney's phone calls. And sanctions. I think they're denying sanctions too. Because it says memorandum of decision and order of Commonwealth's motion for remedial orders and sanctions. So both should be Aiden's phone and all of it. So Aiden Carney, the Commonwealth, asks the court to order the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office to revoke Carney's communication privileges with the exception of his children and counsel, appoint an independent master to monitor all communications between Carney and counsel, and order Carney's counsel to pay $10,000 to monetary sanctions. And she denied it. So good. She was paying attention. Uh-oh. Looks like Mellow Cottage fails. I don't know why he calls him that, but maybe he could explain in one of his posts why he calls him Mellow Cottage. All right, so he fails. Mellow isn't ready for the big leagues. If you're keeping track at home, that is now 2 straight L's in Superior Court for Mellow, including a denial of stay-away orders at the December 22nd hearing. Mello had much better luck in district court, but unfortunately for him, he chose to indict me and clearly isn't ready for the bright lights of Superior Court. My personal favorite quote was when the judge said that Mello claimed the evidence was on the internet. Her response, we read that. All right, so he made a meme here, or somebody sent a meme. That went well. The F is wrong with you. My bad. I can't even look at you. So they want to take away my cell phone or my phone calls because they realize that tossing me in jail didn't silence me. Exactly. That's key. It didn't silence him, and he's still talking, and they hate it. They are looking like fools. And it's the more and more that they do to Turtleboy, the more foolish they look. And the more they double down on the charges against him and Karen Reed, the more foolish they look. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right, so they want to take away my phone because they want to silence me. Putting me in jail didn't silence me. Mello wants me to lose my phone privileges because I've been exposing lies so efficiently behind bars. He really has. And I just want to say, and I think I said this in the last stream, I think his writing has gotten like, because I do read his blogs whenever, there's a new blog and he posts it. I do read his daily blogs. And honestly, I think his content, his writing, it's gotten like really good. They're giving him content to write about. So how can it not be? So anyways, they keep doing what they're doing and they're just making it easier for Aiden to make a bigger name for himself, I think. Anyways, so Mello clearly doesn't understand that you don't just get to make shit up and lie under oath in an unaliving case that I've been covering for 9 months straight and not get called out for being a fraud. Better luck next time, Ken, he says. So, multiple times, Ken Mello has tried to take away Turtleboy's phones, and it's just that time it didn't work, and they were denied. So thank goodness for that. All right, so returning to our timeline here, we already went through those two. So the next thing on the timeline is January 31st, and this is when a 31-page warrant came out. It was unsealed to the public regarding Reed and Carney and their communications and the warrant to seize her phones were basically, insinuating that they were conspiring to intimidate witnesses and taint the jury pool and all that. So, I mean, a 31-page search warrant, come on. All right. So, the search warrant. Canton Cover-Up Part 280 search warrant for Karen Reed's phone shows Lindsay Catani and Natalie Wywecki, I don't know, lied to investigators. So we talked about her in the last episode. That's Natalie, that's Tully, and that's Lindsay there. We talked about Natalie in a past episode, but honestly, there's so much to that could be an episode of its own, and I might even make one because he's got a lot of information on her. But so she's the one, remember, that was the college friend of Karen's, who was the go-between between him and Karen, and then she got kind of weird, and then she turned sides, and yeah, I don't know what happened, but at some point in time they couldn't trust her anymore, neither one of them. So, and then she did turn sides. Now she's like with the McCabe's and the Alberts, the Mick Alberts, as Turtleboy calls them. So Ted Daniel first reported today that a warrant used by Ken Mello to obtain Karen Reed's phones has been unsealed. The Commonwealth suspects that Reed and Turtleboy conspired to commit witness intimidation against the McAlberts and Proctors. According to the warrant, the two main sources were Natalie the German and Lindsay Catani. All right. I have a copy. This is Ted Daniels again from Boston 25. I have a copy of the search warrant MSP used to seize Karen Reed's phones last week in connection with Special Prosecutor Ken Mello's witness intimidation investigation, not the case of the unaliving, involving Aiden Carney, aka Turtleboy. I'm going through the 31-page document now and will report on Boston 25 this evening. Here are some of the highlights from my initial scan. The search warrant cites probable cause that Reed committed witness interference and conspiracy to commit witness intimidation by allegedly working with Aiden Carney. Okay. She can work with whoever she wants. Mass State Police allege that Carney initially began communicating with Reed in April of 2023 through a college friend of Reed's who has since flipped. That's Natalie. And now she's cooperating with the Massachusetts State Police. Reed's college friend told MSP that Reed's attorneys were working with Josh Levy, and Levy was directly involved in the federal grand jury. So he's the U.S. state's attorney. And he's working, like I said, he's working on indicting lots of corruption within Massachusetts. And he just started with a couple of cops, or I think they were mostly retired, but they arrested a few law enforcement officers and a couple of retired officers who were in on like trading services and things for what was it? I don't know. They were instead of like that's what it was. They were certifying people with their CDL licenses, and they were passing people who weren't even taking the tests, or letting people pass for favors for like driveways and bottled water and supplies like that. So I don't know, but they've already started taking down people. So I think they took down like 6 people in that probe, and that was just a week or so ago. So I'm sure there's more coming. I think that's just the tip of the iceberg. All right. So on April 23rd, 2023, Reed's friend texted Carney, "Not public. The feds have been involved longer than anyone is likely guessing." Okay, so How is any of this illegal? I mean, I don't know. Okay. Yeah, and this is in the search warrant for seizure. Carney's former girlfriend told MSP Karen Reed was interviewed by federal law enforcement. That's the first time I've heard of it. And then MSP alleges that there were 189 calls between Aiden Carney's phones and what they say is Karen Reed's phone. MSP also alleges Carney and Reed communicated on Signal, which is an app that I think your messages disappear, which is perfect for this because he got his messages that he needed. He got the story, and the cops can't intercept it. MSP alleges that Reed took steps to provide Carney non-public information while appearing to be distant and controlling what he can publish publicly. I have reached out to Reed's legal team and will update if they comment. I have never seen a case in totality like this. So this was a copy of the search warrant to take Karen Reed's phones. So Turtleboy says, just to review, Natalie told Brian Tully, the author of the affidavit, that Karen Reed and Turtleboy began communicating on April 23rd through Natalie. Natalie claims that Reed took steps to provide information that was not yet public to TB and controlled what TB could post and report. Tully flew to California on the taxpayer's dime to interview Natalie, who claims she was given immunity for cooperating with him. Natalie claimed that Reed's attorneys were working with U.S. Attorney Josh Levy. Natalie claimed that Reed got Turtleboy to write about the story. Natalie texted Turtleboy in April saying, non-public, feds have been involved for a long time. So then isn't Natalie the one that's conspiring and not Turtleboy? I mean, if you're going to go this route and say that this is conspiracy, which I don't believe it is, but wouldn't Natalie be the one because it originated from her? But yet Turtleboy's sitting in prison. I don't get it. All right, so MSP and Mello are trying to charge Reed and TB with conspiracy to commit witness intimidation, alleging that Reed provided TB with Michael Proctor's address and photos. Natalie claims to be the conduit between Reed and TB. Natalie said, "Thank you. We really appreciate the help." After Canton Cover-Up Part 1, to which TB replied, "It's my job. Glad to help." Okay, so that was Part 1. Like, that was the very, very beginning. Okay, so he published an article or a blog about it, and he didn't know it was going to blow up this big and get so much attention. And he was doing what he always did, was reporting on stories that piqued his interest, and piqued his interest. So Natalie claims that TB got permission to wear the Jen McCabe Google shirt to court from Karen's lawyers. So I don't know if that's true or not, but Natalie claims that Reed's parents saved a seat for Turtleboy in court. So what? You can sit by people in an open public courtroom. Natalie claims that TB met with Reed and her attorneys at the Omni Seaport Hotel. Natalie claims that TB asked her to send him a picture of the alleged hair found on Karen Reed's car. Remember, they said there was a hair in the taillight, and then there was so much back and forth as to whether it was human or not, and they never even tested it until recently, and it turned out to not be human. So was it dog hair? Natalie told TB that Colin Albert had an attorney. Natalie claims Karen Reed gave TB information on the federal grand jury investigation. MS alleges 189 phone calls between TB and the phone number they believe to be Reed's from April through December, totaling over 40 hours. MSP alleges that TB spoke with Reed's lawyers dozens of times between April 20th and May 2nd. Lindsay Catani told Tully that TB told her that Reed was interviewed by the feds. MSP alleges Reed and TB spoke on the Signal app, and Natalie often took screenshots of Signal messages. Gattani claims TB told her that he speaks with Reed every day, runs everything by her, and describes her as difficult, controlling, and gets irritated with him. Gattani claims TB showed her the leaked voicemail of the 911 call from Jen McCabe and Canton Police dashcam video. Tully claims TB posted the voicemail on 12/1 and believes it is reasonable to assume that only the Commonwealth and Reed were in possession of that audio file. Gattani claims that Reed wouldn't let TB post the dashcam videos, so he went behind her back and obtained permission from Alan Jackson to post. What dashcam videos? I've never seen any dashcam videos. Gattani claims TB told her to delete messages and evidence from her phone to lie to the grand jury about it. Tully claims that information fed to TB by the defense was used in a defense motion proving a conspiracy. Because Turtleboy found something and then the defense used it in a motion, so that's a conspiracy because he found some evidence that... No. That's not conspiracy, Tully. It's making a good case. That's what that's called. That's supporting your case. Gattani is referred to under the pseudonym Jane in this affidavit, a name she used for a burner Twitter account on which she would frequently harass TB and his supporters while still in a relationship with him. Nothing alleged in this warrant is criminal. It is not a crime to leak non-public information, which is why the Commonwealth does it frequently to Twitter trolls. So the Commonwealth is already out there frequently throwing out little nuggets for their case that make, put them in a good light or, shine Karen in a bad one. But then, yeah, they're double standards. However, it does illustrate, once again, that they do everything they accuse others of doing. Double standards. Karen Reed's parents saving Turtleboy a seat in court is not a crime. Attempting to speak with sources for a story is not a crime. Reporting the public fact that Colin Albert obtained a lawyer is not a crime. Reporting about the existence of a federal grand jury after Colin Albert was served in his dorm room by the FBI is not a crime. No, that's all under journalism, I would think. Turtleboy does not reveal sources. However, there is nothing wrong or criminal about seeking out people close to Karen Reed in order to write a story about her. At no point did Karen Reed ever direct content on the Turtleboy website. So that's Turtleboy's, these are his own words saying she never did any of that. Gattani lied when she said that Turtleboy got permission to post Canton Police dashcam, nor has she ever seen the footage. At no point has Turtleboy ever posted Canton Police dashcam videos. See, that I've never seen police dashcam videos. Videos that likely make Jennifer McCabe look even worse than she already does in the 911 call. Oh, show. I want to see. I would really love to see the dashcam videos of that morning and how Jennifer McCabe and Carrie and Karen were all acting and compare the calm, icy, cold calm that Jennifer McCabe was when she was reporting there's a man on the lawn in the snow, not there's a Boston police officer who's my friend who's in the lawn of my sister's house. None of that. She left out a bunch of those details, so it's an interesting 911 call to pay attention to. All right, so Tully claims that Turtleboy was the first to post the 911 voicemail on December 1st, which he believes is evidence that Karen sent him the audio. However, the video was initially posted in November on a YouTube channel called Mass Hole Troll Mafia, that's KP's channel, which is run by a woman who works with MSP and the DA's office, KP. This is some, I don't know. Oh, this is the 911 call. I don't know. Oh, this is the 911 call she posted on her webpage or YouTube page. Turtleboy never told Katani to delete messages from her phone or lie to the grand jury. In fact, here are screenshots of Turtleboy urging Katani to tell the truth because the two of them have nothing to hide. She says, I won't be able to lie in court. He says, I would never suggest anyone lie in court. Everyone should tell the truth. Tully claims that information fed to Turtleboy by the defense was used in a defense motion. He is referring to the Rule 17 motion for Jen McCabe and Michael Proctor's communications, a motion that was successful due to the fact that Turtleboy reported on September 25th about a social visit between McCabe and the Proctors. And that was when a nice turtle writer sent a photo to Turtleboy informing him that there was a car there that looked like Jennifer McCabe's. So Turtleboy reported months ago that Natalie was the conduit between Reed and Turtleboy. Karen would not speak directly to Turtleboy, so as a responsible journalist, he sought out a source close to her who gave him factual information on a story he was reporting on. This isn't the bombshell these mental, I don't want to say that word, mental people think it is. If Reed's attorneys are cooperating with Josh Levy, this isn't the scandal that Mello and Tully think it is. The feds are conducting an investigation into the DA's investigation of Reed. The defense would obviously provide the feds with evidence that their client is being framed for murder. The plan here is obvious. Tully and Michael Morrissey are trying to smear Josh Levy as a corrupt agent of Reed and Turtleboy. So this is just some kind of ploy that he's saying from Tully and Michael Morrissey from the district attorney's office and the state police. So it is their last desperate Hail Mary because they know that Levy is about to indict them. Turtleboy discovered this information on December 23rd at Katani's house, when she willingly showed him all her communications with Tully and Mello. Text messages reveal that Katani specifically invited Turtleboy to her apartment to show him this information that he never got a chance to report because Katani became upset when he wouldn't sleep over. Then conspired with Tully to call in a false police report of DV, leading to Turtleboy's incarceration. However, there is proof of all of this in Katani's phone, which she lied that she didn't bring to court on January 8th. That was another lie that she got busted on. She didn't bring it, or she said she didn't bring her phone when she was on the stand, and that because they wanted, like the judge wanted to see one of the text messages or something, and so she lied and said that she didn't have it. But then there was a break at some point, and she was downstairs talking to her kids, and her own lawyer ratted her out, like saying, "Oh yeah, you were downstairs talking to your kid on the phone." So yeah, she lied about that. Definitely having a phone. Natalie lied when she claimed that Reed got Turtleboy to write the story. Turtleboy looked into it after multiple Turtle writers messaged him with links to public court documents about the case. He began investigating and was put in touch with Natalie, who gave him links to public Facebook accounts of the McAlberts, which he got pictures from and used in part 1 of the Canton Cover-Up, published, when was that? 4/18/23 is when he first did it. Natalie texting Turtleboy and the feds are involved in this case was a statement of fact. It's quite literally their job to investigate public corruption. The DA is trying to frame this as evidence that the feds, Reed, and Turtleboy conspired to immediate witnesses. Anything involving any investigation into the McAlberts is framed by Mello and Tully as witness intimidation, despite strong evidence that the witnesses actually are the suspects, or likely your perpetrators. So Proctor's address is public information and is listed on the Norfolk County Registry of Deeds website. You can also Google Michael Proctor's address and it will appear. Tully and Mello are trying to suggest that Reed gave Turtleboy this public information, leading him to go to Proctor's house on the 7/22 rolling rally. This is a last-ditch attempt to charge Reed and Turtleboy with conspiracy to commit witness intimidation so that Reed's bail would be revoked. Gattani told Turtleboy on 12/23 that Tully told her this was their plan. Yikes, man. Telling Natalie, it's my job and glad to help isn't a crime. It's quite literally Turtleboy's job to help innocent people expose corruption, and he's glad to do it, even if he goes to jail for it. Turtleboy never once told Gattani that the feds spoke with Reed because he has no knowledge of that. Gattani is making this up because she personally hates Karen Reed and is jealous of her due to the fact that she believes Turtleboy is in love with Reed. She constantly brought this up in text messages due to her insecurity, despite being told many times that Turtleboy's only interest in Reed was reporting the story. So, I think this is her. She says, it's not true that I'm all you have. You have 1 million fans. You have your family. You have all these women like da-da-da and da-da-da who are obsessed with you. You have Karen who, if I'm being honest, I think you're in love with. You have a lot of people. I have literally no one. I have my kids. Oh, she's playing victim. She's like, you have all these people. I have no one. I'm a victim and you're horribly mean. This is manipulation tactic. This is abuse. Like, this is the aggressor in this relationship. I'm sorry. I know too much about that kind of communication. Anyways. So an aunt who I see once every 6 months is, if that she has, and Grace, who is clearly not even trustworthy person and tried to trash me the second she could. So, poor me, wah, 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 you have all these fans, I have no one. He says, I don't want to monopolize the conversation and center it on my problems. I do that all the time with everyone. I want to listen to you and hear you. You can tell me anything. You challenge me when very few do, which is why I'm so drawn to you. I think Turtleboy honestly likes the drama because I think that's what he was drawn to. I don't know. Maybe I'm just speculating, but I'm too upset to talk on the phone, she says. And he says, that's not fair at all. People being obsessed with me is not love. I feel like you actually love me, and I'm certainly not in love with Karen Reed at all. I have deep empathy for her and especially her father. I couldn't imagine feeling as powerless as he does if this happened to his daughter. It's why I'm so dedicated to this story. On December 9th, Gattani wanted Turtleboy to go to her house and cancel the live show. Here we go. So this is Turtleboy's words on what happened. On December... Oh, this is when they broke up. Sorry. No, this is before the incident. Gattani wanted Turtleboy to go to her house and cancel the live show because she said she was going to take the pills for the baby unaliving and needed him there. Unbeknownst to her, Turtleboy knew at this point that she wasn't pregnant because metadata on pictures of a positive pregnancy test and blood work showing that she was 4 to 6 weeks pregnant showed that the images were from years ago. Remember, this woman already has three or four children of her own. I think 3. And she's working for a 4th, I guess. I don't know. So this is the photo, the pregnancy tests. As it turns out, these were pictures from her other children's pregnancies, which she was using in an attempt to make Turtleboy believe she was pregnant so she wouldn't break up with her. So he wouldn't break up with her. This deceitful and pathological liar, I think that's disgusting. Like any girl who uses the idea of pregnancy or faking a pregnancy, think twice. That's sickening stuff to do to someone. I don't know. All right, so this deceitful and pathological liar is the primary source being used by Mello and Tully in their investigation. On December 9th at 2:30 p.m., Turtleboy informed Gattani that he would not be going to her house that evening and would be doing the live show instead. She responded by accusing your whore Karen of convincing Turtleboy to do so because she was obsessed with her jealousy of Reed. This led to 48 hours of abuse and threats via text message. I have to do the show tonight, he says. Are you kidding me? You have to? It's my job, Lindsay. You can't effing put it off for a day or skip it. I'm not taking them without someone here. So you clearly would rather have another child than spare a few hours of your life. You're going to have a much more important job as a father of 3. Wow. What did your whore Karen put in this shit in your head? And he says, excuse me? Excuse me? You want to say fucked up shit? I can go there too. I hope you understand what you're doing. You are a effing evil monster. I thought this was all because she wouldn't go over to his house. I thought Frankie was bad, but he doesn't even compare. You're a legitimate sociopath narcissist and the most disgusting, despicable excuse for a human I've ever met in my life. You can't spare 3 hours of your effing life when you're the one forcing me to do this in the first place. Where does he say that she needs to do this? He's not even responding. It's all her. It's all her crazy rants. When you are equally responsible and I'm the one that has to go through the effing pain and mental anguish. All the BS about I'm with you through this no matter what. We're in this together. I love you, baby, blah, blah, blah. You're sick. So enjoy the ride for years to come and look back and regret that you couldn't be bothered for 3 hours to just sit here and do literally nothing. Who do you think is the sane one in this conversation? Just asking. All right, so days later, Gattani retaliated against Turtleboy and Reed by reaching out to Jennifer McCabe, Tully, and Mello, which she later showed Turtleboy evidence of on the 23rd, in an attempt to win him back. This is ironic because prior to Gattani's jealousy of Reed, she had nothing but nice things to say about her and believed in her innocence. Also, in the text exchange, Gattani reveals the truth about Lindsay, as the live she is referring to is the one in which TB reports about Natalie's desire to insert herself into the Karen Reed case. Okay, so I haven't gone through that with you guys, and that is the one I said could be an episode of its own, is the whole Natalie situation. So, but here, this is 11/15/23. Driving home, I've got all 4 kids. Oh, she does have 4 kids. 4 kids in the car, and they're killing each other in the back. So can't really hear anything. It's okay. We can talk later, he says. Okay. I'm sorry I wasn't there for you earlier. I'm trying to deal with this on my own to spare you more stress, but didn't realize I was being kind of selfish in the process by avoiding you and not answering. He says, thank you. I'm not looking to avoid stress. Being there for you is not stressful to me. Being away from you and unable to provide comfort is stressful. Being unable to talk to you is too. I hate the idea of you doing this on your own. I am equally as responsible and need to be there for you. He sounds like a stand-up guy, man. These are his own texts that he is putting out there. And I mean, I don't know Turtleboy personally. I don't know his drama, his lifestyle. I don't know anything about that. I don't care about his drama or his lifestyle or who he sleeps with. But he seems like a stand-up guy here to me. Like, he's not engaging in conversation with her when she's going all batshit crazy, talking about his whore when she talks about Karen, and like he just ignores her at that point. He's like, okay, you're mental right now, and you need to calm down before we talk. But then when she's nice, look how nice he is back to her. I don't know. It's crazy to me that he's sitting in prison right now, or jail. So you always say all the right things with a heart. And then she says, I just finished watching your live-ish. 1, your arms look so good in that shirt. 2, you did awesome. I know you've spoken about her a little before, but hearing just how crazy she is frightening. I feel for Karen that she had to deal with that. nut job in the midst of all of it. So I don't know what they were talking about. Oh, the Natalie. That's who they're referring to, was the Natalie live that he did. All right, so just to review, Ken Mello's sources used to obtain a warrant to seize Karen Reed's phones. Are two women who were upset with her. So one was mad because Reed no longer wanted to be friends with her, while the other was upset because she wrongly believed that Reed convinced Turtleboy that Katani wasn't pregnant. Both women are mentally unstable. One was serious substance issues. Tully is using the very dumb Ken Mello, who has weaponized the witness intimidation statute on the Canton 9, a dispatcher, and an award-winning journalist to silence them in order to violate Reed's civil liberties in an attempt to revoke her bail. The warrant application consists of easily proven lies and wild speculation, and yet a judge signed it. Yeah, what is with all these judges signing off on things that they shouldn't? Like probable cause affidavits that don't show any probable cause. So this should bother all decent people who are concerned about their privacy rights, and it should. We should all be outraged. Mello just picked a fight with Alan Jackson and David Unetti, which doesn't seem like a good idea, he says. So that is the search warrant seizure. I know it's a lot, but we still have more to go. All right, so the next section we're going to do is the Turtleboy Diaries. So the last few blogs I've been reading during this whole entire episode have been from his blog, but he did like a special Turtleboy journal, prison journals. So we're going to read through this, and they're pretty funny. I really like his writing here. Oh man, that's missing a spot. All right, so let's make this bigger. Today is my 20th day in jail. This is part 1. So there's 3 parts, so buckle up. Today is my 20th day in jail. I kept a journal for the first 10 days, but started slacking and figured I would catch everyone up when I get home. Some have suggested reading more while I'm in here, but I prefer writing because I'm a content creator, not a content consumer. I have a lot on my mind, and it's difficult not to be able to go live and talk about it when you're so used to doing that. Many people message me about my day-to-day life in jail, so today I've decided to write an article talking about my experiences and innermost thoughts. This is therapeutic and good for my mental health. Due to my high-profile arrest and charges, they have been hesitant to put me, he's talking about like putting them in general population, so I know he's like segregated. He's in the like the hospital section, or the section for people who are who need mental or physical medical needs. I don't know if it's the hospital or, you know, the medical ward or whatever they call it. So he says, I haven't hugged someone since Christmas, and I haven't met anyone I've had more than a brief conversation with. I'm going to tell you all about my average day, which repeats itself over and over again. So he's feeling like he's on Groundhog Day. All right. 5:30 a.m. Nurse and CO wake me up and give me Wellbutrin, an antidepressant. I've taken Adderall for the last 20 years for diagnosed ADHD, but they don't allow it in jail. Going cold turkey was very difficult, and I napped a lot to make time pass. I can tell you for a fact, coming off of something my doctor put me on for my fibromyalgia a long time ago, and trying to come off that, it was the worst. Like, it took weeks, probably over 2 months before I was finally normal to like wean that stuff out of my system. It was terrible. I mean, withdrawals are a real thing. I can get a withdrawal even if I've gone like more than 24 hours without my Lexapro, because I need it for my fibromyalgia, my anxiety. And then But if I don't take it and it's not in my system, my body, like, I react very quickly. So to have to go through withdrawals in jail, that sucks. I feel for him on that. But he says, well, Wellbutrin has helped, but it's not the same as his former medication, his Adderall. All right, so 6 a.m., CO brings in breakfast. I eat every meal alone in my cell while other prisoners get out and sit at tables. Half of the time, it's 3 hard-boiled eggs, which I actually enjoy. Other times, it's Rice Krispies, cold pancakes, or oatmeal. If you don't wake up and force yourself to eat breakfast, you'll be hungry all day. So that's at 6 a.m., and I cannot eat at 6 a.m. That's way too early. 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., I go for morning rec. They bring me to a housing unit called SHU, or SHU, where 17 prisoners currently reside. One of them is Brian Walsh. They remain in their cells while I am there in case one of them breathes on me and I melt into a puddle. This is paradise for me and the highlight of my day. SHU has an outdoor basketball court, comfortable seats, TV, showers, hot water for coffee, microwaves, and Walsh has the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and Boston Globe delivered. Wow. Brian Walsh is another high-profile suspect. He has not been charged. I mean, he's been charged, but he hasn't been convicted yet. So he's awaiting trial, too, for unaliving his wife. I start my time in the SHU by calling my sister, who gets my kids on the bus so I can tell them I love them and make me proud. Then I go outside and run 4 miles on the 100-meter track I've created on the courts. Today I did 80 laps. Holy crap. Then I do 3 sets of pull-ups trying to beat my record from the day before. Today I did 15, 11, and 8. Oh, something got cut off there. These pages are frustrating. He didn't watch a sports center. From 9:15 to 10 a.m., I am in heaven as I kick my feet up and watch TV. But it's bittersweet because as minutes tick away, I know I'm getting closer to mental hell. Sometimes I make conversation with the CO on duty and educate them about the Karen Reed case. So far, they are all turtle writers. From 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., I sit alone in my cell and talk to no one. Prisoners here are either psych holds, sick, or in trouble. I stare at white cinder blocks as the hours pass slowly. My moods vary. Sometimes I am upbeat and optimistic about the future, but other times I let my worst thoughts control me. I get upset about the abuser who lied and put me in here, the trauma of my car crash, the bolo, the beyond the lookout, and seeing her lie in court makes the trauma all come back to me. It is. I mean, I'm sure he's traumatized. All of his civil liberties have been stripped from him. I am told that she is sharing intimate pictures of me, messages, and a video of me having a panic attack as a result of her lie about being pregnant. She does this despite saying in court that she's worried about me sharing pictures of her. It's hard for me to comprehend such evil from a person I naively trusted and thought the best of. I blame myself for assuming she had a soul or a conscience and not researching her to see she has done this to multiple men before, including other men who are in here with me. Whoa. I underestimate how traumatic this all was in a short period of time. Being alone with my thoughts is the worst thing jail administration could do to me mentally. I've brought it up with the mental health counselors, but they are ignored when they relay my concerns. I've spoken to admins multiple times, begging to be put in a housing unit with other prisoners. Prisoners that get something. I don't know. Sorry, that cut off. The admin is afraid to put me in a unit because they don't know everyone I've written about. They claim this is for my protection, which I appreciate, but in doing so, they are causing severe damage to my mental health. They might as well put me in here 24 hours a day in case I slip and fall on the way to rec. I would much rather get beat up than sit in the cell all day. At least it would be something to do. I'm not the least, can you tell he's bored? I'm not the least bit scared of going into a housing unit and don't like being treated like a porcelain doll. I'm strong, athletic, and savvy. I write about dangerous and violent people all the time, yet I've never been attacked or confronted. If anything, my prisoners like me, because I'm in here for exposing the system that put them in here. So yes, the prisoners in there they respect Aiden, and he does talk about that later on, that once they realize like he's against the system, they're like, hey, that's cool. Like, you know, they're all on the same side. It's inadequate and unfair to be put in isolation like this. While other prisoners are watching the NFL playoffs tonight, I'll be counting cinder blocks. But don't worry, it's for my own good. I'm special like that. Lunch is brought to my cell at 11 a.m. by a CO. It's the last human being I will see until dinner comes at 4 p.m. Prison lunch is pretty good. I always eat the salad, pickles, and tuna or roast beef. After that, I keep busy by writing articles, calling people on my tablet, and reading messages. I get hundreds a day, and they keep me sane and connected to the outside world. They make me feel loved and valued. Some bring me to tears. I had no idea I had this sort of impact on so many people. I have people on the outside running my website and social media, focusing on what gives me purpose and helps the hours pass. Thanks to Maura Healy, who signed a bill in early December that gives, I don't know what it was. I will be forever grateful for my team on the outside. These people, some who have been loyal friends for years and some who have only recently met, are all dedicated to the Karen Reed story and are always there to take my calls. I realized what a sacrifice this is on their part, as they also have families, but still take time for me. They work with my attorney and help me research. They type in and publish the articles that I dictate to them on the phone. They keep spirits up and movement alive on social media. They represent the goodness in human nature, which stands in stark contrast to the dark evil of Lindsay Catani, Jennifer McCabe, and Brian Tully. I'd be lost in here without them, so without his team. And I love my dedicated attorney Tim Bradel, and speak with him daily. He's more than just a guy I pay to represent me. He is a friend who cares about me, and he knows this is the most important case of his career. He knows that the Constitution is on trial here, and that he alone must defend it. He will emerge from this victorious as the most prominent attorney in Massachusetts. His optimism and friendly personality gives me confidence after any setback. All right, so dinner then comes around 4, and I eat whatever they bring. Being in jail has broadened my horizons for food intake. Normally, I never eat chili or white rice, but in here, I enjoy every bite. I eat pineapples, peaches, green beans, and peas. I drink milk with, milk, gross. I mean, yum. I drink milk with every meal. It's so much healthier than my diet on the outside. After that, I count down the minutes until 6:30 when I get an hour of evening rec. They bring me to a unit called SMU, which holds problem prisoners. A 21-year-old from Brockton who is in here on gun charges was put in SMU for calling a CEO a bitch ass, whatever. I laughed when I read the report he showed me after he tried bullshitting me and claimed he never said that. I told him I could totally picture him saying that, and he realized he couldn't bullshit me. I've taught so many kids like him in Worcester. I'm not from Boston. Sorry, guys. Worcester, I think. He really wants me to get into the housing unit and wrote 4 pages of instructions for me on how to do so. I appreciate this act of kindness from a young kid who made some bad decisions. Unfortunately, prisons are filled with people like him caught up in the system who have accepted the fact that their lives will be filled with periodic incarceration. A black guy I spoke with was recently convicted for selling cocaine and sentenced to 11 years in federal prison. Norfolk Jail houses federal prisoners like him who awaits cases in Superior Court as well. He was in SMU for making something called home brew. Prisoners take bread, fruit, and sugar and let it ferment in plastic bags. The problem for them is when you first open it, a strong odor comes out that COs instantly recognize. When he saw me, he yelled, "Yo, Turtleboy." He told me he was from Worcester, liked me, and said, "You went to South, right?" Turns out he went to the same high school and ended up in the same jail for very different reasons. The alumni newsletter will be very interesting this year. Like the kid from Brockton, this guy knew what I was in for and appeared to have instant respect for that. It's not often that they see a blonde-haired, blue-eyed former teacher with glasses in jail who could easily get out by taking a plea. From 6:30 to 7:30, I work out hard. I go into an empty cell and do 500 step-ups onto an 18-inch bed. I focus on high knees and arm movements. I can feel my core doing the majority of the work. And for the first time in my life, I have a legit six-pack. I then do 200 push-ups. And I've lost 8 pounds in here. And I've never been physically stronger. Having a good body leads to a sound mind. I love working out in prison. At 7:10, I'm sweaty mess. So I shoot hoops for 10 minutes outside, no matter how cold it is. I'm working on perfecting my left-hand dribble so I don't look like Jaylen Brown in the playoffs. My jump shot is officially on point. I then take my shower of the day using bar soap as shampoo. Ugh. This may seem uncomfortable and gross to you, but I've survived much worse. I pledged a frat in college and had to clean up some of the nastiest post-party messes you've ever seen. During Hell Week, we slept on the cold basement floor, ate an onion filled with toothpaste, and hot sauce, did thousands of push-ups, and cracked eggs on our pledge brothers' heads when we couldn't answer frat history questions while standing in formation. In the Boy Scouts, I camped in freezing weather and ate foil packs, aluminum foil filled with veggies and chicken. Then we threw on the fryer, I think it means fire, that we built from scratch. I never had an allowance, ate school lunch, and graduated from high school. It's the most challenging. Being in isolation there is the most challenging thing he's ever had to face mentally. At 7:30 p.m., I go back to my dungeon and call home. I talk to my kids and ask them what they learned in school today. They tell me they miss me and ask where I am. My son made me cry the other day when he told me that I had been gone for exactly 16 days. It made me sad to realize how much he missed me and needed me by knowing how long it had been since I hugged him. But my mom reminded me that it shows how much he loved me and needs his dad. I'm so lucky to have that, and it will make reuniting with him even better. I will never want to let go. When they ask me where I am, I tell them I'm away for work, and in a way I am. I'm in here for journalism. I went to Lindsay's house to get information on the corrupt cops who went exploiting her mental illness. I tell my kids that sometimes dads go away for work on business trips. Police dads go away for 10-week academies. Army dads go to foreign countries for months at a time. Distance from my kids sucks, but many have dealt with it before. They are too young to understand the real reason I'm in here. They don't yet need to know that some cops are the bad guys because their youthful innocence should be protected. Their dad is a political prisoner and a man of principle, and I know that someday they will appreciate that, but today is not that day. When they're older, they will forget this temporary situation, but they would never forget the image of visiting their dad in jail. It broke Aiden's heart to know that I didn't know when I would see her again. So I think his daughter. Yesterday, she scored her first goal ever in indoor soccer. Yeah, it melted my heart to see that the first thing she did when the game was over was message me to tell me about it. I'm so proud of her and can't wait to get her home and get home and see her. Aw. I caught a goal. It was 2-9. We lost. We almost won. Is that what she said? Or 11-9. I caught a goal with my knee. I'm so proud of you and I love you so much. That's him and his daughter talking. Happy birthday. Thanks. I love you. He was in prison for his birthday. His birthday is December 26th. I think. All right. So after calling them, I usually call my parents, or my friend. He calls his parents and his son, his daughter. After calling them, I usually call friends until phones shut off at 10. One friend in particular plays YouTube shows for me, like The Glare, LTL, or Unsafe Spaces, talking about how much they support me. Hearing Rita Lombardi, Gail White, Tom DeRozier, and others speak so highly of me and how they know Lindsay is lying makes me feel so loved and appreciated. I often fall asleep listening to it. Nighttime can be good or bad. If my mind is consumed, I have no idea. My brain comes up with weird stuff when I'm talking. Like I said, my autoimmune disease just makes it hard for communicating. All right, if my mind is consumed with positive thoughts, I sleep like a baby until 5:30 a.m. If I think about the evil people who put me in here, I will wake up constantly and struggle to go back to sleep. I don't know when I'm getting out of here, but it likely won't be the full 90 days. District courts like Dedham allow 90-day bail revocations for new arrests, but my bail was revoked out of the Superior Court thanks to the December 22nd indictment. Superior Court only allows a 60-day bail revocation. I'm not at liberty to discuss our legal strategy to get out before 60 days, but I know if anyone can get me out before the Super Bowl, it's Tim Bradle. As for the coming court dates, they are as follows. The 25th was a pretrial in Dedham for fabricated DV charge. He's not going to be released on that date. That already took place. February 7th, so yesterday, was a pretrial hearing at Norfolk Superior Court for witness intimidation. So it appears we are going to court. It was a pretrial hearing. February 12th, for Zoom hearing in Leominster District Court, where I am summoned as a witness. Holden Police filed a criminal complaint against Catherine Peter, the KP, for felony, witness intimidation, and trespassing, and she will have a magistrate's hearing on 2/12 to decide if there is probable cause to charge her. So he's a witness there. If at any point federal indictments come down on any of the so-called witnesses, cops, or court officials charging me, it will likely lead to all charges being dropped against me. I don't know how or when I will get out of here, but when I do, I will be stronger than ever and have new perspective on life. Locking me up was the biggest mistake they ever made. P.S. I'm getting a French bulldog puppy when I get out of here and have decided to name her Ryder. Look how cute she is. Bet his kids are going to love her. All right, so Canton Cover-Up Part 272, Prison Journal Part 2. He's got a new cellmate. All right, so today is my 28th day in jail, and I've never been more optimistic. Soon, this chapter of my life will be over, and I will walk out the front door of the Norfolk County Jail as a much stronger and more motivated man with a new perspective on life. The hardest part of jail is the isolation. I've spent my entire time here living in the medical unit, surrounded by sick and psychologically damaged inmates who are temporarily housed here. It's rare to have a prisoner in medical who isn't ratchet or insane. There are 8 to 9 cells here, and unlike the housing units, something, I don't know, lunch and dinner, if the CO on duty is a turtle rider, they treat me like a human being by engaging me in conversation. But if you get the wrong CEO who treats you like a common criminal, it can be tough. They have a lot of power, and I'm basically human shit. They can ignore you when you knock on the door because you're just a prisoner to them. It's dehumanizing to be treated like this, so I will never forget the CEOs who treated me with humanity. I still love morning rec, or recess as I call it. They bring me to Brian Walsh's housing unit at 8 a.m. and I run 5 to 6 miles on the basketball court track I've created. It's been cold as balls this week. It was really cold around that time when he was writing it. And the track is icy and slippery, but I don't even think about not running. I need it. I feed off it. It sets the tone for my entire day. As I count laps, I think about everything I'm going to do when I'm out of here. I think about how my success and Karen Reed's exoneration will be my ultimate revenge. I think about the army of people cheering me on who message me every day. I can't see you or hear you, but I know you're out there waiting for me, and I won't let you down. After I run, I do 3 sets of pull-ups, and every day I do more as I feel myself getting stronger. Today is a 17, 12, 10, whatever that means. Then I shower, make my coffee, and watch sports before going back to my dungeon. Being in housing unit for recess is a tease. They get 8 to 9 hours of recess in units while I get 3. I appreciate that they are doing this for my protection, but I'd rather take my chances in Gen Pop or PC. I'm basically being punished for my own protection. I've asked to move in with the big boys several times, and my attorney had a meeting with the administration this week. They told him it's out of their control, out of the question. I don't know. Sorry, the page is all cut off. I didn't realize that. So he feels like he's just a prisoner whose opinion doesn't matter because he's in isolation. However, I just want to be on the record that I want to be in a housing unit. I'm not the least bit scared, and I'm in isolation against my will. I can defend myself if necessary, and I'm not the least bit worried about getting beat up by a S offender or a you-know-what head, which seems like at least 75% of the population here. They can't get me any more recess. They can't give him any more recess, but they did arrange for me to watch 2 football games by myself in intake. I do appreciate that because watching NFL makes me feel normal again. It sucks that I'll be spending the duration of my time here in medical, but as long as I keep busy, the time will fly. Writing articles, talking to supporters, and reading messages accomplishes that. I can do this, and I know it will pay off in the end. During morning recess, the prisoners have started calling me over to their cells because they know who I am. This black dude called me over and asked if I was the guy covering the Karen Reed case. He said that his judge is Auntie Bev, and he knows that I'm not fond of her, so he wanted to help me out. A white guy named Jesse also introduced himself, as I've spoken to his sister-in-law here several times. I wrote about some sea heads he knew in 2017 called the Wear Vibrator Bandits. What? And he liked it. He apparently read my first prison diary because he quoted it by calling me a porcelain doll. Weymouth, who got into a 3-on-3 brawl, I don't know, and a little kid from Weymouth, I don't know what that means. Again, it right in the middle of the pages, it cuts off part of the paragraph. It's so frustrating. As I walked into evening recess earlier this week, the white kid yelled, "Yo, it's Turtleboy." He wanted to tell me about how much he loved a 2016 blog about a classmate of his at Weymouth High School named Vanessa who pissed in the elevator. I wonder what she's up to. One of the black kids said, "Are you the one who's famous?" I said, "I was arrested and it was on the news, so I'm not sure if that qualifies as famous." One of them heard about my freestyles and wants to come on my live show to battle me. That's hilarious. All right, he said he wants to be a rapper, and I told him that's how you end up like Mike Giannetti. He didn't get the reference. It's some guy that trolls all the Karen Reed things. It's sad to see young men like this wasting their lives. Most of them weren't even alive for 9/11. Being a prisoner or being in prison and getting into prison fights is just normal for them. I never imagined that I'd end up in a place like this, but you've never imagined a world where they didn't end up here. Or they've never imagined a world where they didn't end up there. It's all completely normal to them. I think about what I was like at their age, getting hired as a teacher, thinking about buying a home, and eventually starting a family. But there's a subculture that has never even envisioned that as a possible life goal because no one in their life modeled the behavior for them. And the cycle repeats itself. It's such a waste. I think he was talking about he got his hair cut by the prison barber. My spirits are up this week because of developments in the Karen Reed case and the charging documents against me. One of the counts is that I said I don't want Karen Reed to go to trial. Think how crazy that is. I'm being charged with a felony for wanting an outcome that's apparently going to happen anyways. An outcome that is backed by a federal investigation. Ken Mello and Brian Tully want me in jail for that. I've loved reading all the reactions to Thursday's hearing. Thank you to the hundreds of people who sent screenshots on social media, comments. I can't reply to many because the battery on my tablet will die, but reading them makes me feel connected to the outside world. Your positivity energizes me. And when Karen Reed is free and the people who covered up John O'Keefe's ending are brought to justice, then I will be completely vindicated. A year from now, I will be covering the federal prosecutions and I will be in a much healthier place professionally and personally. I remind myself to get myself through the day. For the past 48 hours, I've had, I don't know what this is, and it cuts off anyways, so let's skip. Oh, this was a conversation that every time somebody talked to one of the guys, like his cellmate or across from him, he was taking his pants off and yelling a bunch of obscenities. That's all he's doing here. I'm not going to read through it. You can see the obscenities. All right, so as you can see, he likes the N-word and he ends every sentence with it. This serenades me to sleep at night and wakes me up in the morning. I won't lie, I think it's hilarious. He's actually way better than the guy before him who screamed, "You're all R-word," at the top of his lungs all hours of the night. I still miss my kids more than anything. Special thank you to Mike Casello, who went to my son's basketball game and filmed some highlights of him almost scoring his first basket. This is yet another example of the goodness and humanity exhibited by Turtle writers during this trying time for me and my family. I know that I don't belong here and I hope to get out before the full 60 days. Although I'm mentally prepared to do the full 60, there are two ways out. SJC or feds arrest the bad guys. I hate Brian Tully the most because that loser has the biggest heart on for me. He framed both Karen Reed and myself, and I pray to God he's indicted. If he is, then my charges will go away. Either way, I'd rather be in my position sitting in jail right now than in his position shitting bricks. I won't be in jail for long, but God willing, he will be. P.S. I have court in Dedham District at 9 a.m. on Thursday, where we will begin the Lindsay Gattani and Brian Tully stuff. Okay. And finally, we're on the Canton Cover-Up Part 279, Turtleboy's Prison Journals Part 3, Turtleboy Detox. Today is my 35th day in jail. Last week, we filed a petition with the SJC asking them to do a number of things. 1. Reduce my jail time from 90 days to 60 days since bail in Superior Court can only be revoked for 60 days according to the law. 2. Overturn the bail revocation, which is only to be used with dangerous criminals. I am not violent or dangerous, and the lies that Lindsay Gattani and Brian Tully conspired to make up about me was that I pushed her onto a comfortable couch, resulting in 0 injuries. All right, so number 3, get rid of the unconstitutional paragraph 14 in Lying Lindsay's restraining order, which says I can't publish confidential DCF documents or court records. Although her DCF documents are likely voluminous, I don't have any of those, nor would I publish them. However, the public court documents that we do have, which can be accessed by anyone in Norfolk County Probate Court, are not confidential. It is unconstitutional to tell an American citizen that he can't publish court documents because it proves that Lindsay is a substance-abusing liar who falsely accused her own father of DV. Wow. All right. Give me my phones and my computer back. That was 4. 5, throw out the witness intimidation charges completely. We asked for immediate relief on 1 and 2, which will be decided by Justice Kafker, the same justice who ordered Jen McCabe's phone records be given to Karen Reed. We have asked for a decision in the next 7 to 10 days, since every day of incarceration is irreparable harm. Because he can't do his job. And it's irreparable harm that it's causing emotional and psychological damage to him and his kids. I'm sure that they're separated. All right, so the Karen Reed case is falling apart and there is no chance of me being convicted. Therefore, any time spent in jail robs me of my freedom. We will post the whole SJC petition shortly. I don't remember if they did or not. I didn't see it. I'll look for it. Last week, I came to the realization that God put me in jail for a reason. I am not a criminal, I have not intimidated any witnesses, and I certainly never hit a woman. I don't belong here, but I kind of needed it. The fact of the matter is that although my professional life was good, my personal life was shit. Not that it's anyone's business, but when Lindsay Gattani decided to file a false police report and take pills for a fake baby to end the fake baby, or the baby that didn't exist, because I wouldn't spend the night and cuddle with her, my personal and sex life became public record. Although I didn't break any laws, the reality is that I chose to associate and fornicate with gutter trash like her. Ooh, damn. Harsh. Okay. Because something inside of me is attracted to fast women with loose morals, no matter how dangerous they are. I will explain the whole story when I'm out of here, but December 23rd was far from the first time she pulled a stunt like that with me. Yet I kept going back. If Lindsay never called the cops and made up a lie, I definitely would have been back over there a couple days later, despite the fact that she held me hostage, threatened my own children, and caused me to crash my car. So he's saying like he needed this jail break, or like being in jail, this break away from this woman to finally see like, hey, she's nutso and you need to stay away from her. Otherwise he would have just kept going back, even though he could tell she was toxic. Yeah, I kept going back. If Lindsay never called the cops, made up the lie, I definitely would be there again. He was addicted to the thrill of it. If I had given her what she wanted and stayed the night, I'd be stuck in the perpetual cycle of the mentally abusive relationship I was in. The only way it was going to end was in dramatic fashion. So he's saying he would have just stuck with the cycle of abuse from her until something had to give. And that's his freedom. And that's when he had to give. The guys look up to me because I'm good at journalism, not because I'm good at relationships. Tiger Woods and greater men than me have had their personal lives upended for similar reasons. Being in jail has given me a chance to detox my personal life and examine why I ended up messing around with women like LG and LG Part 2. Ooh, who's LG Part 2? I can safely say I no longer want any women like that, no matter how skilled they are at certain times. Yes, stay away from the crazies. And this is good advice, just all around. Stay away from the crazies. I get hundreds of uplifting messages a day and have built new friendships with people on the outside who I know are healthier people. I look forward to starting fresh when I leave here. Every day during morning rec, I look out at the front door and imagine that it's going to feel like walking out. What it's going to feel like walking out. I know there will be turtle riders and my new puppy Ryder waiting for me. My parents will likely bring me home and I'll get to surprise my kids as I don't plan on telling them I'll be coming. I told them I'm going to be bringing a surprise home with me and my daughter keeps asking, is it a puppy? She is intuitive like that. I just really can't wait to hug them more than anything. They're going to be so excited to see him and the dog. Oh my gosh. I won't get into details about plans for my personal life, but let's just say I'm finally doing something that I should have done a while ago instead of living the way I was. I know that I will be better off and healthier for that. I will no longer have the cloud of this double life that led me to be held hostage by a crazy woman in Medfield. I don't know where I'm going to go, but I do know that it's better than living the way I was living. I will still be getting the kids on and off the bus every day, going to all their games and telling them how much I love them before they go to bed. I'm the happiest prisoner in jail history. I'd like to get out early, but I'm mentally prepared to do the full 60. See how his mindset has totally changed from the beginning to now. Last week, I found out they're not moving me out of the isolation of medical, and I'm at peace with that. I'd rather be in a housing unit, but I'm so overcome with optimism for the future that I don't even care. I'm going to miss morning recess a lot. I run 7 miles a day on the basketball court now and closing in on 50 pull-ups. Afterwards, I love putting my feet up, drinking coffee, watching TV, and reading messages. It's like a ghetto vacation where I have no responsibilities and everything is taken care of. I used to hate going back to my cell because the 8.5 hours until the 6:30 recess would drag, but I keep myself so busy that I often run out of time. I call people on the tablet all day, including one person I've really enjoyed getting to know. I am no longer consumed with hatred of the people who put me in here, and instead my conversations are positive and talk about what a force Turtleboy is going to be when I walk out of those doors. Locking me up was the dumbest thing they've ever done. I agree. It's made me a martyr for a cause and got me national attention I otherwise wouldn't have gotten. I've become a frontline soldier for the First Amendment, unwilling to back down or give into tyrannical government. It's gotten the attention of James O'Keefe, who I now message with on Twitter. He has expressed interest in interviewing me in jail. It's been the greatest career move ever. A few months from now, Karen Reed and I will both be free, doing speaking tours, holding parties, writing best-selling books, and suing the pants off people. Jen McCabe will be in jail or out on bail if she's lucky. Michael Proctor and Brian Tully will no longer be cops as they face federal indictment, and Michael Morrissey will no longer be district attorney. Lindsay will move onto a new guy to ruin his life and may be facing charges of her own. Ooh, nice. KP is being arraigned in Plymouth on 2/7 on a new charge of violating an HPO and has a court hearing on 2/12 for witness intimidation against me. The tables are turned, and the crazy Asian guy who ends every sentence with the N-word has finally moved to Bridgewater Friday. So that guy that whole conversation was with that ends every sentence with an N-word. But not before I walked out of his room. So he was moved, but not before I walked by his room and saw him sprawled out naked on the floor going to town on his samurai salami. He's been replaced with much less hilarious guy who yells, "You're all R-word," and bangs on his door screaming into the void 24 hours a day. What is the point of that? It's a zoo in here, but I block it out by focusing on my work. I'm also reading To Kill a Mockingbird, which I think I was too young to appreciate after being forced to read it in freshman year. I talked to one of the black kids at evening recess who was put into SMU earlier in the week, after getting into a fight. He said that I wrote about his mom in an article about the shooting at the South Shore Plaza. I didn't remember the article, so I asked if his mom shot someone. He said no, it was him who was wrongfully accused of being involved. One of his favorite COs pulled me aside and told me the 21-year-old was going away for life for shooting someone in front of their 3-year-old. I remembered the article because his mom was a woke member of the Maynard School Committee with Google trophies of her own. He was on the run for about a month. While she was lecturing others about diversity, equity, and inclusion, her son was shooting people in the face. It's crazy how people like him and Brian Walsh walk around this jail with the aura of confidence, like they're ever going to live outside of the jail again. These are the kind of people I am in here with. I don't belong here. Not a lot of journalists can say that they've been to jail, but I have. This makes the whole story so much more compelling and drastically increases my street cred. Absolutely it does. I don't even mind it much anymore. Don't get me wrong, I hate that I can't go live, publish as many articles as I used to, and be with friends and family. But it's made me appreciate the outside world so much more, and it's going to make me return that much better. I won't be doing my show the first night back because I will want to spend time with my family. I will probably do a quick Facebook Live on the way home, as I imagine I will be happier than I've ever been. But maybe I'll do my show the second night. The first show, which I want to have at least 10,000 live viewers for, will be a recap of jail life and my thoughts and developments on the Karen Read case that I was gone for. So all the stuff, that he needs to, he's going to be updating us for a while. It's going to be a very long live stream. The next show will be a one-time expose about the recent detrimental period of time just before my bail was revoked. Then I will bury the part of my life forever. It's a crazy story that I'd rather the world not know, but I think it's important that you know the mental hell I've been dealing with while continuing to put out content. In the meantime, I sit here and wait for the inevitable day to come when the bad guys are arrested. Maybe my bail revocation will be overturned, but I will be okay if it's not. It doesn't matter when I get out because years from now, a couple extra days in jail will only make my return that much sweeter. Justice is coming one way or another. And that, my friends, is where I'm going to leave you. So that is the last entry of the Turtleboy Diaries from prison. You can bet. Sorry, I'm trying to move my mic here. You can bet that his live, when he first comes back, is going to be crazy and wild, and things he's going to be able to tell us. I can't wait till he's out. I'm actually having withdrawals from his show because I really enjoyed watching it and getting my updates about the Karen Read case, and now I'm doing my own content on Karen Read. Anyways, I really hope that you enjoyed this episode. We're now brought up to speed. Basically, we're caught up. So the next episode, we're going to do a Canton 9 episode and who they are and what they're about. And then we'll be pretty much caught up and we can start, giving updates as we go. As in live time, we'll give live updates and things like that. So that's kind of where we are at with this story right now. I'll come back on the screen for a second. I want to thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it that you guys are here with me reading through this stuff. I think it's fascinating and just eye-opening to see what's going on in these cases. The Karen Read, Turtleboy, Canton 9, they're all related. And we're trying to get to the bottom of it. And we're not going to stop talking about it because it needs to be told. The story needs to be told. That's the truth. All right. So just remember, justice is coming one way or another. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye.